like there are some things you shouldn't say, and there are some things you should say better when trying to comfort someone that is grieving, right? I mean, don't say at least you have a mom, at least you know your dad, at least yours was better, at least it was old, it was this age. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know, oh my god, I have tried, oh my god. I know it has been a very long time. It has been almost 7 months. I wanted to give up on making this video, but so I said to try again one last time. Anyway, by the title of this video, you already know that this is a life update. This is like the most major life update ever. The reason I've been absent for a very long time is because my dad passed. My dad died. He's no longer breathing. I'm not gonna see him again. He's no longer alive. Disclaimer, I want to apologize in advance to my family and my mom, my siblings, in case this video is gonna be a trigger. But then there's 2 reasons I'm filming this video. The number one, because there is no way I'm gonna come back to YouTube and move on like nothing significant happened in my life. I just couldn't. Yes, I wanted to see 2 videos on how to deal with grief, how losing a loved one felt like, and I didn't say any. So if you are seeing this video, I practically made it because of that reason. Just to show you the process and what it feels like, and you're not just alone. Basically, I'm trying not to rush myself, just because my dad passed. I've been super emotional. The first times that I tried to film this video, I ended up crying so badly, and it's just so much tears to put in the public. Basically, my dad passed like in July, in the 2nd week of July. I'm practically shivering. So right before my dad passed, it was the healthiest, and I had never seen him sick until he was sick and he passed. It was just a very brief illness. He was sick for 3 days, and it was called to glory. Has always been in my prayer requests. Every time I write a prayer request that, oh, let me not lose my parents, let me not lose my loved ones. And I never imagined that I was going to lose a loved one so soon. I never almost seen him weak. One Wednesday night, I got the call, like, you know, there are some calls that we should never get. Then I got that call, and that call changed my life. And I rushed to the hospital with my sister. I saw my dad, and I was so scared. It was very scary to see my dad in that kind of place, and it was asking me not to fidget as always, and just be strong and do the things I was supposed to do, right? And I tried my best. Those 3 days were the most stressful days of my life. You know how hospital can be, like I'm running up and down. One of my subscribers even saw me on the day my dad passed. And then she texted me. I was like, Sayo, you gotta take it easy. My dad died on my watch, and for the longest time I felt it was like my fault. God, I kept on thinking and thinking what I could possibly do, or what I could have done better, and what I could have done to like avert the situation, what I could have done differently. So my life changed so much, and I had to live the whole of 2021 uncertainty and fear. Like, I don't want to make future plans. I was always just so scared. Oh my god, the burial. And then there was so much people saying so many things, doing so many things. But it's just a really sad occurrence for me. It does not feel any bit old. Like, it feels very fresh every time. So I've had to like just grab my chest every time. I just feel like, oh, my heart is gonna fall out. Or I just feel like I have to just give myself a hug because I feel like I need it. Or I had to drag myself out of bed, first conversations in this past month, because the aftermath of my dad's death has been the most difficult period of my life. My dad had this certain discipline in like all this phase of life. When it comes to church, it's disciplined. Sorry, God is disciplined in this kind of way. He was basically never caught slacking. And he was an outstanding man. Very, very. Hey, it taught me the value of family. He was a good husband. Oh, he was a good husband. And he was an amazing father. He had this certain discipline in life that I can only dream of. I mean, I didn't know how disciplined it was until he passed. My dad wasn't perfect. I talk about my dad every time. Everybody around me knows I talk about my dad every time. But he was a very good man. It was like one of the few left. He was alive. I appreciated and I knew that I had a good father. Oh my God. And when he passed, it became more glaring the kind of a father I had. I could find directions around Lagos, but then if I didn't hear from my dad, it didn't feel like the best direction. The first thing I went through was denial. I refused to accept that my dad passed. How? I mean, in my life, I used to feel like, oh, I could not be disadvantaged because I always tried to be a good person. Even if I was disadvantaged, not at the point of death. So, I was in denial when my dad passed. I threw myself on the ground. I hit myself badly. I wanted badly to believe that it was a lie. But you know, when somebody dies, the person is dead. That's like final. I could not process the thought of it was final at that point. And for like 3 days, I'd wake up and think that, okay, there's still a possibility that I could wake up. Or there was a possibility that was not happening to me. And I'm like, God, you will not disappoint me. I mean, there are still some songs that I cannot sing now because I sang them in faith while I was expecting my dad to get like healed. And on the night that my dad passed, I mean, in my family we go to the hospital a lot, but it was my dad that was always taking us. So having to take my dad was very, very shocking. So we stayed up all night and we prayed. And I was such a coward because whenever I step into the hospital ward, I look at where my dad's bed is, if it's breathing, then I'm like, oh, it's still fine, and I proceed to him. Then I felt like I was doing a good job. I felt like I was taking care of my father right. And my dad was very selfless until the end. Until the end, he still kept on talking about other people. So I'll be like, Daddy, just focus on yourself for now. I'm talking to him like I'm taking charge. Sometimes I wish I had just like let him talk as much as he wanted. My dad's burial was befitting, and many people came. There was many nice things that was being said about my dad. My dad passed. I was so angry, and because my first response to anger is not even like raising my voice or something, I was so angry in my spirit. I was angry at God. I was angry at myself. I was angry at the man that died. I was angry at my daddy. If he loved me so much, if I was really his daughter, why did he have to leave? How could you do this to me? After all my prayers, after all my promises, how can you do this to my family? And I was very angry. For the longest time I was very angry, and I started to develop hatred in my heart. If I see you laughing, I'm looking at you like, why are you laughing? Like, what's funny? Even if I don't know you and you're laughing, I cannot get it. Like, why are you laughing? My heart just felt very cold, and I felt like I was naked. It felt like people could see, like people were looking inside my heart. I felt like I didn't have any sort of covering. I felt like I didn't have protection. I didn't have security. I felt very, very alone. Just because everything, my dad was at my beck and call. I could always reach out. And I hated walking on the street, Jesus. It felt like everybody was always pitying me. Everybody was always looking at me. Whether I was a part or not, I knew that I lost. And losing was very new to me because I almost never lose. That was like my first major hell. And it hit me hard, and I kept on telling my friends that I don't go. No matter how much I laughed, it wasn't enough to like mask the pain. I honestly can never find the perfect words to describe how I felt. Losing a loved one is an indescribable pain. You cannot erase it from your heart. I did not even believe I could change so much, and I became extra quiet. I had no words. I had nothing to say to anybody. If I thought I wanted to talk to somebody, all I wanted to talk about was my dad's passing. If you agree with me right now, I know you want to talk about is your loved one that passed. If you have people to listen to you, I think you are blessed. But do not feel like you're talking about it too much. I started to suffer from insomnia. I could barely sleep half the time. I mean, sleeping during the day was okay, but then at night, just because my brain is very photographic, yeah, I practically replay the whole event from when I got the call that my dad was going to the hospital to when he passed, and I replay it in my head. And my hospital experience was a very sad one. My mom always tells me try not to remember it. I thought something broke me, but then I met a more broken version. It was just too much pain, and many times I could not put words to it. I still cannot put words to it. I felt a lot of feels. I was heartbroken, sad, dejected, depressed, anxious. I felt very weird things. One was I wanted to be pregnant so bad. I don't know why. I just wanted to be pregnant. I just wanted to have a baby. I don't know what I was thinking. I went as far as making people believe that I was pregnant. I went as far as taking pictures of my stomach all bulged out, making it look like I was expecting a baby. The frequent way I felt when my dad passed was vulnerability, and I was crying so much. I think I just stopped crying a lot this past week. The only good way I felt was I felt a little bit more relaxed about life. So I wasn't allowing people have control over my emotions. I just took more charge over my life. It gave me sleepless nights. It gave me memory loss. I started forgetting things like I was pregnant. All the feelings I never thought I could handle. Because why do I have to be tried with fire to gain strength? After my dad passed and I laugh, maybe something cracks me up. I get an aftertaste that is sour. In my head, I'm like, why are you laughing? So you are not laughing, Abby. And it felt like moving on was almost impossible. Honestly, I don't think there's anything that's moving on from losing a loved one. I think you can only move forward. Like a chainsaw is piercing through your heart. Continuously, something is stabbing you and you feel so helpless. The helplessness that comes with losing a loved one, knowing you cannot do anything, even if you were the richest person or you had all the money in the world. I mean, I had never almost seen my mom very sad. I've never even seen her sad. Like, my family was very closely knitted. We were born big. We're not really big, but then we were very happy. My dad taught us contentment, so we were always contented with everything that we had. My mom, an amazing woman. My dad, they were perfect for each other. They loved themselves. I had never seen my dad and my mom fight. So we had a good family. We had a good thing going. We didn't have everything, but then it was good. So every time I saw my mom crying or my siblings, and I cannot help, it just made me more sad. Knowing that in my head, I'm like, we didn't deserve that. But I mean, who does, right? I'm like, oh my God, we are so happy. We are happy people. We don't even know how to be sad. We didn't deserve this. When my dad passed, I didn't go to like see him until the burial day. So I couldn't, I feel like if I had gone, maybe I would have gotten some more closure. Because I just left my dad and I entered and he's gone. So I'm like, was it planned? Like, you could not even say goodbye. You need people, right? You need friends. You need different kind of friends. Friends that will pray for you, friends that will stay with you, friends that will feed you, friends that will understand you, friends that will listen to you. And I was blessed enough, I don't want to say lucky, to have friends that were majority of those stuff to me. But my friends were extra amazing. They prayed with me. I mean, I saw my friends crying and I felt so terrible. I'm like, why am I making these people cry? Don't joke with your circle, basically. You need to preserve your energy. Preserve your strength. You would definitely need your energy in the future because life comes at us so far. It felt like I was never going to be okay. Nowadays, I'm okay on some days and I'm not okay on some days. But I've started to trust the process and just take my time. Because I allowed myself grief. There were days I would just wake up in the morning and say I'll be sad. Then I'll drink water of sadness, and throughout that day I'll be sad. It felt like happiness was very far-fetched. I'll be looking at my happy pictures and I'll be like, who is this person? I was so happy and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Grief can change you for bad, for good. I had to ask myself a question when I lost my zeal, I lost my motivation. I didn't want to do anything in my life. I was just always sleeping, crying, doing like that, falling sick, doing all of those. If my dad's passing was going to make me lose focus or find purpose. And that's why I couldn't come on YouTube, because I can't influence when I'm not happy. I was very sad. I was just really sad. And I didn't hide the fact that I was sad. I mean, like 3 months after, people ask me what's going on. I'm like, I'm sad. And they'll be like, why are you sad? And I'm like, I'm very sad. One pastor came to my mom and told her to her face that you are not the first and you will not be the last. I mean, how do you tell someone grieving that she's not the first and she will not be the last? Like, and not just take heart. Be strong. I wish it was easy as it sounded. For other people, for some people, I asked, like, what does it mean to take heart? Take heart as a take heart, like take heart or out, because if you think about it, when you want to talk to someone that is grieving, don't just say things because other like it's the regular things to say. You can just say, I'm praying for you. When you say take heart, like how do you want the person? How are you supposed to take heart? I don't know. Or how are you supposed to be strong? You are clearly weak. That's why you're grieving. So how are you supposed to be strong and be strong? Take heart. These phrases or these words made me so pissed. Anytime anybody said it like this, I'll not just reply the person. Because I mean, I wish I knew how to take heart. When you know that somebody is using it to get out of an uncomfortable situation, it becomes very annoying. Any small thing, you'll be fine. I mean, someone is bearing their heart to you, and all you could say is you'll be fine. Don't do that. It doesn't lessen the pain. I feel like empathy is better. I don't know how exactly you feel, but I've been there, and I know that this feeling can be overwhelming. I'm praying to God that you find strength, because honestly, at that point, the best you can do as human is just up the person physically, in the person's head and in the person's heart. You can almost do nothing. You can make the person laugh now, but then when you leave, the person is back to crying. People are dying. You don't just know them. I didn't even know people are dying so much. How do you deal with grief? I mean, I don't have the blueprint, but then I'll tell you how I dealt with mine. The first thing I did was to come to YouTube, really. I was searching for how to deal with grief. How does it really feel? Will I get better? And stuff. And I just held out to God because I didn't feel like I could do it on my own. I started a Bible plan, grief, coping with anxiety, finding peace, and that was just what helps me the most. Dark humor. I made some very dark jokes, but it helps me cope. The gratitude helped me. It didn't make sense to be grateful. It was not logical to be grateful. I mean, what are you being grateful for? Because I'm thankful for the process and not for the moment. One can be very sad and lonely, going through a lot, and still be grateful. And honestly, every time I sang songs of praises to God, it made me feel better. It's the most sane thing to do is to succumb to God's will, because I know firsthand that God is real, and I know He would not want to hurt me because He's intentional about me. And even the fact that my dad passed does not mean that He does not like me or He doesn't love me. Sometimes I'll be saying, God, I'm grateful, but why? Because I'm such a realist, right? I wanted to understand why, like how. But some things in life are not supposed to make sense. The more you try to find sense, the more you try to find sense in something, the more it makes it look like you are running mad. Like He's sovereign. That was what makes Him God. And it it takes a lot to come to that acceptance and realization. It's a process, it's not a one day thing. Some days you accept, some days you question, some days you're like, hey, this person is not coming back for real. It's powerful because it can do the things we want, and it can also do the things we don't want. That's what makes him like sovereign. That's what makes him God. I said God is questionable. But if he doesn't answer you, if he doesn't want to answer you, what will you do about it? God is questionable because I believe he wants to know the questions, the things that are going in my head when I am confused and when I am sad. So I asked a lot of questions. But asking those questions made me feel better and made me understand how much big God was, because what can you do when you ask somebody a question and the person doesn't reply? You accept whatever it is and just find ways to move forward. And it took me so much time to be able to pray. It took me so much time to be able to believe again that God was on my side. Like, I'll be praying and I'll find it hard to just say amen. But when somebody says, oh my God, this person is serious in the hospital, I'm like, Grief makes you think God is not real, or God doesn't like you, or God is not, or you are not important to God. But you are, and I am. Even my mom, that is the most hurt about this situation, is God's favorite. I would have gladly taken his place because I was one that was always battling with anxiety. I was one that was finding it difficult to like survive. I was one that was always complaining that life was hard. But if he had called me, if I died, I would have probably made hell. I think I should wrap this up now. But I spoke to my friend Popolua this night and she told me, Fisayo, when I told her that all the videos I have made, I have been crying. And she said, Fisayo, if you want to cry, just take a break, and it helped me. As much as I feel like losing my dad was my biggest loss, I know that God has settled the greatest thing I'd ever want from me, which is the salvation of my soul. Even if my dad died at 120 and he wasn't saved, I'm not saved. Sorry, I'm not saved. I'm feeling like a preacher, like there's no point, right? What's the essence of living so long on it and then you go not so far in hell? Even though my dad passed, God has given me something very precious. This is not my final destination, right? The only reason I am very sad is because I am human. Because of my flesh, and I found consolation in that knowledge. My friend once told me something. She said, there's a different grace for the fatherless. And when she said it, I thought she was trying to make me feel better. Or for the motherless. But since my dad passed, I have felt that grace just because God has come through for me in the weirdest moments, the most unbelievable moments, the most unbelievable circumstances. And I plan to close the comment section, but I think I'm going to leave it open, just if anybody wants to express themselves there. I'm going to go to bed now. Hopefully I'm able to sleep. We watch it up to this point because this video is so quiet and cold. You tried though.